wrestling is a fight. Strong honor. My botch.
Mike Elgin, I'm gonna whoop your big ass. Now, Mike Elgin, let me tell you something, boy. You big juiced up jelly bean looking mother.
Michael Elgin.
Fuck Michael Elgin.
Doing the math. Jeff Cobb is one powerful motherfucker.
Listen up, wrestling fans.
That's right, listen up. This is Strong Honor. My name is Tommy Stryker, and on this show we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor Wrestling. Got a great show for you this week. We had a conversation, myself and my co-host Taco from the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, had a great conversation with the Married Marks. They have their own podcast, the Married Marks Podcast. It's Shannon and Richard. We talked Wrestle Kingdom right around the corner, talked about some of our favorite matches and moments from the year of New Japan, talked about Ring of Honor's final battle last weekend, the dramatic victory for Dalton Castle winning the Ring of Honor Championship from Cody. So we get into all of that. The only thing we didn't get into was the Young Lions and the Young Lions Cup that's going on right now. So stay tuned after the conversation. Great conversation with Shannon and Richard from the Married Marks Podcast. So, but yeah, listen to that whole thing. We talked for over an hour. Good stuff. Also, I wanted to note quickly here too, I don't do a lot of these interviews and some of my wires must have got crossed or something, but there were definitely moments, especially early in the interview, where my mic was kind of loud and distorting, so just beware of that, and I'm working on being better in the future at podcasting, because I do pride myself on having good, listenable podcasts with good audio, so a bit of a flub in that department this week, but nevertheless, I hope you enjoy the conversation despite some not technical perfectness. Also, there's a little bit of a delay here and there due to the Hangouts link up or whatever. I tried to edit most of it out, but there's some of it here and there. It's not a big deal, but like I said, hopefully it doesn't take away from the conversation and you enjoy the show. But yeah, stay tuned for some Young Lions speculation after the conversation with the Married Marks.
Strong Honor.
Here we are, Tommy Stryker here with Taco, and the Married Marks have joined us. Hello, Shannon.
Hello.
And hello, Richard.
Greetings.
Sorry for the slight delay there. The internet is not the greatest of technologies, but it's okay. It still works. Still works pretty good for our purposes here. So, you guys started your own podcast. Was that earlier this year?
Yep, February, I believe. Late February. So we're almost coming up on a year now.
Whoop, whoop. Awesome. And kind of get into what's your story. Obviously, your part of your podcast is the Married Marks, so you two are a married couple. And from what I've heard on the show, I haven't heard all of your episodes. I'm slowly getting caught up here, but kind of give us your story. Like, you guys have been married for a long time. What made you guys decide to start the podcast and just stuff like that?
I defer to the wife.
I was going to say, are you going to defer to me or take this one? So we're longtime fans of wrestling. Richard's actually been into wrestling much longer than me, only because he was into it when he was a kid, way back in the day. And I watched it a little in the 80s. I'm totally dating myself. Whatever. I'm 37. Everybody cope.
It's all right. I'm turning 39 next week. I'm in that same boat. So.
You're all kids. All kids.
Get off my lawn with your damn Dan Fogelberg records and your rock. But yeah, we both have watched for a really long time. I watched casually as a kid, and then shortly after Richard and I started dating, we would go to like Monday night get-togethers at a friend's house.
Sure.
This was during like the Raw versus Nitro WCW Monday Night Wars. And it just got sucked into it. And we've had little periods of lapsing here and there, but I mean, that's still going on like probably close to 20 years of watching wrestling.
I was going to say, yeah, if you started back in the Monday Night Wars, that's definitely a 20-year off and on relationship with the sport/business of pro wrestling. So, being that this is Strong Honor, talk about your fandom as it relates to kind of when you fell into the Ring of Honor thing, as well as New Japan.
Oh God. It's kind of funny because we were introduced because we started the podcast almost a year ago just because we decided, hey, we have opinions, let's talk about this. And one of the focuses was we wanted a female opinion out there because there's not enough of us in podcasting.
Correct.
Yeah. But one of our buddies would not shut up about the Young Bucks to me because he's like, Shannon, you need to see these guys. They're totally your kind of guys. Like, you just need to see this. And I'm like, if I had a nickel for every frickin' time, but yeah, they wound up introducing us to it. Mostly it was Richard. Was it Abe and Andrew? I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So they kind of got us into it. And then from there, it was just, I completely fell in love with Matt and Nick.
Cool.
Pieces. And of course, then Kenny. We won't even talk about my level of nerddom with that man. And we went to our first Ring of Honor show live last year?
Yeah, no, it was earlier this year, actually. It was the show in Hopkins.
Okay.
So that was, February? March?
I think it was March. I was there, too, and I think it was kind of early, mid-springish. So, yeah, March, maybe even... Yeah, I think it was prior to WrestleMania, I think. But, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Awesome. I like the month of just totally bled together. I don't even know. I don't even remember what I had for dinner. But yeah, so we went to a Ring of Honor show and I was just blown away. And like we had started watching it sometime before that. And I think we've been into New Japan for about 2 years now because of all that.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, we dove like headfirst in. And it's kind of funny because for me personally, Ring of Honor and New Japan have become my two favorite promotions. I prefer them over the Fed.
Right.
Which hot takes. I know a lot of people hear it. But I've yet to see a bad Ring of Honor show live. I've yet to be disappointed by a New Japan pay-per-view. I'm just totally head over heels in love. Richard, I'm not sure about you.
Well, the Ring of Honor stuff I kind of followed a little back in the Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, CM Punk days. But I didn't really get to watch it, unfortunately. I basically lived through, seeing stuff on YouTube or
torrents back in the day. That was my big one. Allegedly.
No, shh, we don't talk about that. Lower the pirate flag. Okay. But yeah, and then really got into New Japan, at the same time Shannon did about 2 years ago. Never really even knew that there was an option to see any of this stuff in New Japan until a friend of ours actually, was casting it onto our TV so we could watch it.
Nice. So he introduced
absolutely blown away.
Introduced you to the world, as it were. So
yeah, well, and this friend is a very big Japanese. He studies martial arts. He's been to Japan, so
cool.
He's lived there for periods, and he studies Aikido, and he's just super into the whole thing. So
awesome. Well, let's kind of delve in here and just get into the meats and potatoes of this week in wrestling. That's what we're here for, is to talk some graps, as they say. So I do want to start. Let's start off, I guess, a little bit controversial. And this is a topic that's come up on the last couple of weeks on this podcast. But I definitely wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because you tend to cover these subjects a little more. I shouldn't say seriously, because when I talk about them, it's serious. But I prefer not to get into. I guess everybody would prefer not to get into ugly stuff, but this Michael Elgin thing, I really wanted to get your guys' take on this. Obviously, we're 3 weeks removed from the news kind of initially coming out on the whole thing, but I just wanted to get, again, your guys' take, how you feel about him being now booked on in the Tokyo Dome, teaming up with, of all people, War Machine, which feels a bit strange. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, for me personally, I'm very interested to see what kind of shenanigans actually happens at the Tokyo Dome show, because rumor has it that is War Machine's last match in New Japan.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So if they may go out with a bang on Elgin.
It's certainly possible. Certainly possible. But
Now, when it comes to Elgin, and I hate saying his name because I'm very disappointed. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And to find that he has that little respect for not only female fans, but female fans that he may have been involved with, even. I mean,
and all signs point to that with those DMs getting out and all of that. That certainly seemed like if it wasn't a goal that was already accomplished, it was something that he was attempting to.
Yeah, and just reading those DMs, I was very disappointed with the way you could tell that he was exerting his power over her through those DMs, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. But then again, I'm not in a position of power like that. So,
well, here, I'll throw my 2 cents in, because I got pretty vocally angry about this whole thing on Twitter. I've been fortunate enough to actually interact with the young lady in question, who's absolutely charming. She's a wonderful human. It's sad, not so much that it came out. It's sad that this is something that I think fans can't acknowledge happens all the goddamn time. It's literally something that I think is far more prevalent than people realize. And I think that his handling of this has been absolute garbage. It's been hot garbage. I'm super disappointed because, Richard and I drove down to AAW earlier this year, and we got to see him wrestle Zack Sabre Jr., and it was absolutely one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. It takes a lot for me to stand up out of my seat and just be "Wah!" Freaking out, legitimate freaking. And it was one of those matches. And he's a tremendous talent in ring, but unfortunately there's no amount of in-ring work, I think, at this point that's ever going to convince me that he's worth watching. And I hope, if nothing else, from out of all of this, general fans understand that this is something that happens. It is something where I think female fans especially, we deal with this crap a lot. We're between being targeted and having assumptions made. And I am hoping and praying that through all of this, maybe there will be some cognitive thought about this stuff moving forward.
Yeah.
And maybe people will think twice about the way that they react, whether be they talent or fans or people who run promotions, etc. That's if I'm going to try and make a positive outcome out of it, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it's got to be a culture change, definitely. Obviously, fan culture for pro wrestling is definitely changing over these last few years, with more and more women becoming fans. There's been a surge in indie wrestling popularity, and more women getting involved. It's not just a boys' club anymore, as it kind of was in the late '90s or whatever.
It helps too with tag teams like Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae, touring the country as an intergender tag team. It's remarkable to see that, especially since they have merchandise as well in Hot Topic. So, Lucha Underground at times, I was always for that happening in the ring, because it's just equal playground. Have fun. You both have rights to be in that ring and face each other, and we're just getting to the day and age where the shitty guys are being weeded out, and the people that are there for equality in the ring are prospering, and it's great to see that.
I agree. And I do like to think of it, and this is where I like it, I'll soapbox for 2 seconds. This is where I like to talk about not just equality, but equity, because it's important that fans understand that this kind of stuff has to happen, because without equity and female performers and female fans being given opportunities to enjoy what we enjoy, there is no equality. We have to have that equity to actually be there, and for fans to realize, oh, hey, yeah, this is something that happens and it kind of sucks. Not kind of, it sucks a lot. I'm very much filtering my language for your podcast. I'm crass. But yeah, I think equity is a big thing that people have to think about first. And then, once we get to that point, that's when we really can see that equality kind of push in. And I'm hoping that trend continues, because you're right, it's absolutely gotten better. And I'm just hoping and praying it just keeps going skyward because that's what we need.
Right on. All right, let's get into the fun stuff now, shall we? Finally, let's talk some final battle has happened last week on Friday night, or was it? Wait, was that Saturday?
Friday.
Friday night. Yeah. Sorry.
Friday.
But yeah,
God, I can't believe I knew that.
My brain sometimes gets ahead of my mouth and vice versa when I'm on podcasting, so I'm a mess. But I thought overall a fun show. It wasn't like a blowaway show. It wasn't like a show that was like, oh my god, you have to see this show. But it was still fun. It was worth what I paid for it. Certainly in my
good end of the year banger.
Yeah, sure. And I thought with Dalton Castle taking the title at the end, the main event versus Cody for the Ring of Honor Championship, I thought Dalton Castle getting the win was a nice surprise and kind of a feel-good win. There. So what were your guys' thoughts on that main event?
Okay, Dalton Castle is my boy. I am a huge Dalton Castle fan. I am so excited that he got the championship, and I actually am really interested to see now where this leads for Cody, though, too.
Right.
I mean, without the title now, I think we're going to see some interesting stuff happen at Wrestle Kingdom.
Absolutely, because they've been. Well, go ahead.
Oh no! I didn't want to digress into Wrestle Kingdom when we were talking about Ring of Honor.
Well, let's let the conversation flow. I was going to say there is a lot going on here too with what you were alluding to with Cody facing Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. You've got the Kota Ibushi Kenny Omega connection, and this bleeds into being the Elite, where Cody has accused Flip Gordon of trying to poison Kenny Omega when it was in fact Cody Rhodes. So that all plays into this as well. So there's a lot of fun stories going on with this whole thing, and I think the Cody and Kota Ibushi doesn't lose anything with Cody not having the title at Wrestle Kingdom.
You don't mess with the Golden Lovers. That's all I'm saying. You don't mess with the Golden Lovers.
So we did get we got the brand new championship belt for Ring of Honor. That's a nice looking thing.
Cody knows when to bring in a new belt. Like he did that with that White Intercontinental Championship, and fucking they're still using that thing.
I'm curious now. Does Dalton get the Ring of Honor as well now?
He does not. Stones out to be like aqua and purple. I quit. But it has to be all like peacock colors.
So yeah, a fun main event there from those two. The Hung Bucks defending the 6-man titles versus Flip Gordon, Dragon Lee, and Teton. This one got a lot of attention online with some GIFs on Twitter and whatnot at social media. The big 6-way drop kicks spot getting some ire from, of all people, Vince fucking Russo. So
I guess that's coming. My botch.
But I thought a fun match, a good place. Excuse me. On the card for that kind of match, I thought that shooting star into the Indie Taker on the floor was insane.
Wait, repeat that. I haven't watched it to let you guys know, so everything's being freshly told to me.
Taco has not seen this this pay-per-view. Yeah, so you know how Hangman Page does that running shooting star.
Yeah.
They did that into an Indie Taker on the floor.
That's fucking rad. God damn.
One of the things I was commenting earlier on, like this was a good show, a fun show, but not like a great oh my god show.
Yeah.
Like you could go onto social media and see a lot of the GIFs from like this match and the main event.
I've only seen that fucking drop kick.
But you can see the highlights from this show in GIFs, and you pretty much get a good idea of what the show was all about.
Well, that's what was kind of upsetting me. People were dogging on it so hard, like fucking UFC fighters of everything. It's like, come on, you guys, like it's a show. Yeah, that's kind of the point of this match. They're all flips. Like, get with it.
You got a guy named Flip in the match. So.
I did like there was one UFC fighter out there who said, grown men watch this shit. And then the Young Bucks retweeted out to him like, now grown men know who you are too since I retweeted you.
A bunch of grown men playing dress up.
So what were your guys' thoughts on, the match, the criticism, all of it?
It was was fun. I mean, I love the Bucks to pieces. If you run into me at a Ring of Honor show, I'm literally just donned out in 2 Sweet gear, cease and desist everywhere. I have more Bucks Kenny Omega merch than any other wrestler on the planet. It was fun. I mean, a lot of it, the only downside is I think it's a lot of spots we've seen before if you're diehard fans and you watch. But it was fun. I have personal opinions on Flip Gordon, but he's a wonderful in-ring performer. And yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really disappointed with it. I thought it was a fun match.
I'm kind of glad they went with that route of doing the comfort spots to say, since to me, like Dalton Castle winning is the story of the whole show. So if they're trying to outshine him, that would kind of steal his moment. Like, I totally had him pegged not winning that match. Like, I'm assuming most people were assuming Cody would win, and I thought it would be Dalton Castle's. Like the promos, the build up, the everything that was just screaming like he has to win the championship, otherwise he's going to be another wrestler in Ring of Honor, and he fucking won it. So, if anyone, the Young Bucks and all them went out doing all these crazy shit we've never seen before, that would steal his moment a little bit. I mean, I've seen the drop kick more, like I was saying, I've seen that drop kick so many times all over fucking media even.
And there is a question, I think, too, of what's okay to do on a house show and what's okay to do on a big pay-per-view stage. And that's a valid debate. And I'd be willing to have that conversation, too. But I personally was fine with what they did here, semi-main event or whatever, big spot. But, again, like you said, not taking anything away from what the big story of the
comfort. People are happy. People are cheering. That's a good show.
I look at it this way when it came to that match. There is nobody on earth who thought that Flip and Dragon Lee and they were going to win that match. There's nobody who thought they were getting those titles. So they were able to go out there and just do a bunch of spots because nobody was going to take that match seriously.
Right. And just wow the crowd and have fun. And
show off the new guys.
That's what it was, yeah. And I think they've been doing the Bucks and those whole Bullet Club storyline. I think they're doing a good job of getting a guy like Flip Gordon over, kind of a new Ring of Honor face. We had that great match with Will Ospreay at the Chicago pay-per-view. So that obviously that's not Bullet Club, but I think with the Bullet Club kind of involving him with being the elite stuff, I think they're doing a good job of building up a guy to be a Bullet Club opponent, which is important because you don't want to have what happened in the 90s with the NWO where it's all just, all the most popular guys are all Bullet Club and you don't have any foes. And so I like that they're kind of building up a guy in Flip Gordon. So moving along here, the Briscoes taking on Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer in a quote-unquote retirement match, a New York City street fight. This obviously was a different flavor of everything else that was on the show. We did have some blood here, as we did in a couple of different I didn't mention that. That was also Cody in the main event getting a little juice job in there. But what were you guys, how'd you guys feel about this Bully Ray Tommy Dreamer team, the New York City street fight, the fun build-up that they did to it, the Bully Ray retirement tour? Your guys' thoughts?
Okay, when it comes to the Bully Ray retirement tour, we've seen him retire twice this year already now. Because we saw it in Vegas, and we saw it at the IPBV in Chicago.
And he's been doing it for
about
were at 6 months
both of
now.
those shows. And you know what? I don't believe it anymore. He's not retired. I guarantee you he's going to have another match somewhere in the next 3 months.
Well, if some scumbags come in my gym and throw 6 of my picture frames around, I am coming out of retirement.
That said, though, it was a nice, fun match. I mean, I loved the lightsaber spot.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Well, it's ridiculous as it sounds, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, first they get into a fight with chairs, and they're kind of sword fighting with chairs. But
this is Briscoe's Dreamer and not Young Bucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they get kendo sticks, but then they're, like lightsaber. Well, they had the Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray had like actual lightsaber.
I am not mad at that.
Stuck underneath the ring.
Someone's excited for the movie.
Bully Ray bleeds after a baseball slide into the table. They do into a brilliant chair shot in the match. Tommy Dreamer hits his Spicoli driver through a table on the floor from the apron, and they tease a flaming table going into the finish, but the Briscoes get the win with the 3B or 3D and the froggy bow off the top from Mark Briscoe. So the Briscoes kind of fully turning heel here. That's interesting to me. Getting the win here in the quote unquote retirement match.
I'll take off some pissed off Briscoes.
And I did put out a tweet after this show. In the main event with Cody bleeding, and then with the angle coming out of New Japan where Kenny Omega bled when Jericho hit him with the belt after a long hiatus of no blade jobs in a very long time, not seeing any blade jobs in a long time. We had 3 in a week. Like last week I talked about on this show how we haven't seen a blade job in a long time, especially in like a New Japan or Ring of Honor. And it was like, oh, this is nice and new. We haven't seen this in a long time. And then a week later we've had 3 of them. So let's put the blades away.
The Switchblade's coming.
That's true. So we have that to look forward to. But any difference of opinion there on the juice jobs there, guys?
Juice jobs.
I'm fine. I like color in a match. I'm a total masochist too. Like my favorite spot in the world is a thumbtack spot.
Yeah.
I mark out like an idiot for thumbtack spots. And my friends think I'm gross. I don't even care. I love it. I loved the cheese grater, even though I saw that spot live like a week ago. Yeah, it was good. It was real good. I have no complaints.
Yeah, that was a fun show. Taco and I were at that one
there
too. So yeah, we didn't quite run into each other. We were kind of stuck, shoehorned in the back there. We were stuck in this standing room only mess. So, but yeah, fun stuff from First Wrestling, and Eric Cannon doing a dirty little juice job on a Thursday night show in Uptown. That
Sold out Thursday night show.
Do you want me to break the kayfabe on that?
Go for it.
Because where we were sitting at ringside, we could actually see the blood pack inside of the cheese grater.
Well, there's that.
That was awesome.
What was I talking about again here? TV title. Let's go back to Ring of Honor. The TV title match: Kenny King versus Punishment Martinez versus Silas Young versus Shane Taylor. A 4-way. What do they call this? It was elimination style match. So I always prefer that in a 4-way match, especially a title match. So I do like that. I like Silas Young winning here. He's kind of been he's been a dark horse Ring of Honor guy, and really has gotten over with me the last couple of years. I like him hanging out with the Beer City Bruiser, just being complete pieces of shit. It's just a great heel gimmick here. What did you guys think of this match and your level of investment with these kind of 4 mid to lower card guys on the Ring of Honor roster?
Hot takes incoming. Go ahead, Jan.
Hot takes incoming is not wrong. First and foremost, I'm going to shout out on how good Punishment Martinez is. I jokingly refer to him as better Roman Reigns. And I don't dislike Roman, so that's not like a crap on him. I just think he's really good. Everybody always like shits all over Punishment Martinez, but by the end of a match, y'all are invested in what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Every single damn time. Kenny King has grown on me. He cut a promo on the TV taping in Vegas when we were in the audience that really, like, I sat up in my chair and I'm like, okay, son, I'm listening.
Yeah, he's a man dime.
He's quite good, and I think he's got room to improve. I do not like Silas Young. I'm down with like the heel thing. I know I'm breaking your heart. I'm
Is
sorry.
it the mustache?
No, it's his gimmick. It sucks. I hate it. It's archaic, shitty. I'm tired of him like, I hate when people call it graps. Yeah, well, we hate your shitty attitudes.
Well, he is from Wisconsin, so it makes a little bit of sense.
Well, now it all makes sense.
I hear you on the Punishment Martinez thing. He's a guy that's when he first kind of came into Ring of Honor, he was just kind of there for me. He's definitely improved. His stuff has always looked good. It's just it's a matter of
He's learning. He's growing.
Right.
He's getting there on me.
Motor City Machine Guns versus the Best Friends for the Tag Team Championships. Motor City Machine Guns retain here with a roll up after getting
I'm so sad.
It was weird because right after Saban got pile driven too, he rolled up a guy to get the win. The Machine Guns kind of play heels in the match. It's kind of subtle at first, but until they do this Tree of Woe crotch spot fest.
I did see that. I forgot about that.
The best friends look strong late in the match. They break up the strong zero. They lawn dart Cutter on the floor was a nice move, I thought. Well, I'm curious because I know Taco, you and Joe are both kind of Motor City Machine Gun guys a little bit here.
I'm more familiar with them back when like they were hot in TNA back then, sure. When they were quicker. But they've always fun. They show up when they need to show up, but I don't have no Motor City Machine Gun merch or nothing. They're always fun to watch back in the day, but I couldn't really tell you a match that sticks out on me besides maybe a ladder match they were involved with like the Bucks.
So what do you got? Where are you guys on Motor City Machine? Like me, I'm not that into them. I was like their most fun match that I've from recent memory was the one where they won the titles from the Young Bucks. I thought that was a really good match. And this match was just okay, but I thought it was appropriate with them kind of going heel on the best friends.
I think they slowed down a little bit too because if I remember correctly, they're very injury prone guys.
Yeah, Saban's has had all kinds of knee issues, so.
I'm medium on the Motor City Machine Guns. I enjoy their matches. I'm not invested in them, but I'd like to see them actually turn a little more heel. They need another heel tag team in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Like the Machine Guns fall just short of being really good heels to me. Like they don't completely commit to it, and I'm completely biased. I love Best Friends. Like you put Chuck E. T in anything and I'm fine. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, and that promo they did for this show too was just being
so
goofballs.
Good. Out of all my wrestling shirts, my I'm hard on eggs is like my most questioned shirt.
Jay Lethal versus Marty Scurll in a bit of a I don't want to say a grudge match, but it was Scurll wanting to get the heel out of Jay Lethal, I guess, wanting Jay Lethal to go back to his dastardly ways,
make him a villain,
cause a spot of bother. But a fun back and forth match, I thought. Lethal hits a cutter off the apron to the floor in an awesome move. They do the ref bump and the Eddie Guerrero spot with the chairs. But they do a double one where what was it exactly? Like Scurll tries to do it to Lethal, but then Lethal ends up doing it to Scurll anyway with the tossing the chair back and forth, and then the ref coming to, and the ref comes to, and they're both laying there on the ground with the chair there, and so the ref doesn't know what to do.
I like that though.
The fact that
Go ahead.
Lethal put the chair around his neck and then laid down with
that's what it was. Yes.
No, I kind of like that Lethal out-villain the villain a little bit, because how long was he the champion as a heel? So it's just like, bitch, you ain't going to out-villain me. Come on.
Well, and then that was the finish, too. He hits the lethal injection after low-blowing him behind the referee, because Scurll goes and gets the umbrella and brings that into the ring and tries to get that involved. When then the ref has to shoo the umbrella out of the ring, that's when he just kicks him in the nuts and hits him with the lethal injection. So I don't think this is a technically Jay Lethal heel turn or anything like that, but I do like that this is just, it was a match for him to have on the show, and him getting a win here, I think elevates him a little bit, and he needs
a fucking big win like that, though.
Yeah, and he's talked about in his promos more recently, too, about getting back into the main event picture, which is curious now, because maybe he is going to go heel with Dalton Castle on top with the championship, but that's, neither here nor there. And not to mention, too, I do like that Ring of Honor can, the guys can be subtle baby faces or subtle heels, depending on who they're wrestling, too. Yep. So I like that bit of it. Where are you guys on Lethal and Scurll?
I'm a big Scurll fan. Not as much a big Lethal fan, but I thought it was a decent match. I enjoyed it a lot. I honestly could go either way with Lethal going heel. I mean, he's a pretty good face. He was a pretty good heel. So
yeah,
I'm kind of with him on that one. I love Marty, and not just because of the Bullet Club affiliation. I think he's absolutely charming. He's hilarious in person. He's one of the funniest people I've ever seen run around a casino at 2:00 in the morning. He's ridiculous. But no, his entrance was just insane this time around. All white. Really weird. Like, that was awesome. My whole Twitter feed was like, no one cared about the match. Everyone was just like, what are you wearing, Marty? It was like watching an episode of Drag Race. It was just hot takes on the outfit.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I did like the all white was nice with the white mask and the white hat and everything white was pretty cool.
I got a sidebar real quick. Have you ever watched that Drags Watch Wrestling on YouTube? It's
nobody?
Yeah, it's 2 drag queens, and they watch like WWE pay-per-views and just dog on everyone's outfits. It's the funniest shit.
Funny story. They've actually been on our podcast.
Oh, there you
go. We love them so much. They are such great people. They really are.
Hell yeah. That's great.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one.
Hell yeah.
You really should. It's I'm not gonna lie, Erica and I spend more time just completely derailing the conversation, but it's fun. So.
There you go. War Machine versus Addiction. I thought this was a fun match with a decent little backstory with the Addiction. Since the fans turned on the Addiction were going to ruin everybody else's fun and just interfere in everything. War Machine got upset with them for ruining their tag match or their title opportunity. So this was
fun for you.
This was a fun grudge match. I did see some people online saying, this match there's no heat here. There's nothing. There's just a match they threw together. I'm like, did they throw this thing together? They told the Addiction have been fucking everything up for months here.
And they took out a fucking fan.
Right. Well, yeah, War Machine lawn darted Kazarian into a fan in the front row. And so there was that whole mess. So I enjoyed this match. I liked War Machine getting the win. Fun stuff there. Since we brought up, what are your... I'm just going to throw to you guys.
Hot take.
Yeah.
I love all 4 of them. I adore all 4 of those gentlemen, and I could watch them have matches every other week and probably not get tired of it for 6 months.
Yeah, I'll second that. I have 0 complaints with either of them. Addiction absolutely makes me laugh uncontrollably. We've bought how many copies of their stupid comic because they're just pushy?
3.
Wow. Nice.
Another one in Chicago, and I was like, stop. Just stop it. No, you're done. And they were just like, how many have you bought? He's like, 3. Can we bump them in line? Just get them in now.
Nice.
They're great. They're really, really great. And it's like anybody who says that they're not good workers, you can kiss the fattest part of my ass, which is the whole thing.
Oh, who would even say that?
Oh my god! Oh,
I gotta say, Kazarian. Like, anytime I see one of those Reddit AMAs, I always have to ask them, "Can Superman outrun the Flash?" From The Simpsons, and he's the only one that has responded to that.
Nice. Opening match from the Final Battle: Will Ospreay versus Matt Taven. This was kind of an underdog, again, a match with no heat. Absolutely no heat on this one, but kind of came out of nowhere. A really hot start with a hot crowd doing dives and lucha stuff. Just a lot of fun. We had the Kingdom out there for some skullduggery, of course. Taven takes advantage of Ospreay after he dives onto the Kingdom twice, but then Matt Taven wins surprisingly with a counter to the Os Cutter and a kind of a front DDT. So Matt Taven hasn't really done a ton for me in ring wise, but I know he's been getting over down there in Mexico for CMLL. I do like the Kingdom. There's just something about that group that is kind of over with me that I do like. But I thought this was a good match, a good opener here, and kind of raised Matt Taven's stock just a little bit for me.
Yeah, no, they're one of those groups that grew on me too over the year.
I love their conspiracy thing that they're doing now, that they've been doing for like the last 6 months. I am absolutely loving that.
I was on the floor. I was like, are those lizard men? Really?
I just wish they had better looking merch. Like, there is something so rad there with this group, but Taven's the one that kind of falls flat for me out of the group. Like, besides calling everyone Melvins, like I want to see more out of him. Like I like all 3 of them, but yeah, I just wish they had better looking merch.
I think that's fair.
All right, let's. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that one thing I did notice about that match, though, is the beginning of that match, the crowd was really hot, but there were a couple of really close botchy moves at the beginning of that match. They finally started to mesh together towards the end of it, but the beginning there were some missed spots, and it was getting a little rough there at first.
I thought, it kind of felt like they were a little overexcited, opening the pay-per-view, really hot crowd, and it kind of felt like they were rushing into some things, and then like you said, their timing was a little bit better by the end of the match. So, I think that was definitely in play there. All right, let's shift gears and talk some New Japan. And I think instead of talking about the last couple of Road to Tokyo Dome shows, I think we discussed maybe discussing those on the pre-show. Let's just kind of have a general discussion on this past year of New Japan and some of your favorite moments and matches. And then let's talk about Wrestle Kingdom, because it's a big show coming up. So.
So many good matches.
Yeah. Kind of give us your thoughts on what were some of your favorite matches of the year. Obviously, the Omega Okada ones are. I mean, those are going to be pretty much everybody's top 2 or 3 coming out. So obviously, you could talk about those if you want, but maybe bring up some dark horses or some other things that stick out in your mind over the last year of New Japan.
Okay, I will give you my dark horse rivalry of the year, and that was Minoru Suzuki and Toru Yano. I loved the fact that Suzuki kept losing to Yano all year.
And then when he finally got the title match, it was just Suzuki beating the shit out of Yano for 10 minutes and then beating him.
Yes.
It was like
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that wasn't fun because Yano would hit and run, and would constantly be on the run, and Suzuki couldn't get at him. And then when he finally got his hands on him in that bull rope match, it was all over for Toru Yano. That's an interesting one. What else you got,
Jen?
I hate to throw Omega. I'm such a mark. It's a
married
thing.
mark.
No, it's fine. Zack Sabre Jr. told me that marks are just fans, so it's okay. Best advice ever. I think it was the G1 Climax, Naito versus Omega. Oh, it was so good. I freaking love Naito. I've never been so torn between 2 factions as I am with Bullet Club and Los Ingobernables de Japón. Like, I'm just obsessed with both factions. Like, nobody on either side can do anything. I'm kind of obsessed with Suzuki-gun too, though. So, like, they have too many good factions in New Japan.
I try not to wear my Bullet Club and LIJ merch at the same time because I'm like, no, it's burnt. Yeah, weird.
I have no shame. I'll wear a Los Ingobernables hat and a Kenny Omega T-shirt and a straight up New Japan hoodie. Matter of fact, that's what I have on right now. I will mix and match all of them, and I don't care. I'm trying to think. The G1 Climax, that final that you talked about with Naito and Omega. Naito has had a really dark horse good year. A couple of really great matches with Tanahashi. That whole story where he was throwing the Intercontinental title around because he had such resentment for that championship because it was that championship that stole his main event 4 years ago when he won the G1 Climax the first time and was supposed to main event the Tokyo Dome, but then they put it to a fan vote and that damn Intercontinental title went to the main event with Tanahashi and fucking Nakamura. So that whole resentment story for that championship, and then Tanahashi winning it back, and then Naito continuing to redeem himself by winning the G1 Climax and now going to the Tokyo Dome. And I love that now they have announced that it's again a double main event, and that just kind of pissed off Naito again.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was watching a press conference that he did today. That I was watching it today, and I just love that press conference because the guy is trying to interview Naito about winning the Tokyo Sports MVP award, and he's like, "Do you mind if I change the subject? What is this bullshit about a double main event?" I'm in the last match. Me and Okada, we are the main event. Kenny and Jericho, you guys are the semi-main. I'm the main event. And so him reiterating that point, and then finally getting around to talking about the Tokyo Sports Award, and he wants to find out who voted against him. So he keeps egging on the reporter that's there interviewing him. He's like, "Was it you? Did you vote against me?" It was like, "I want to know what your vote was." And so,
that's so funny.
Naito, just the way he talks, even though it's in Japanese, I can watch the guy talk, even though I don't understand a word he's saying. Mm-hmm. it's just he's fascinating to look at. So he's been one of my favorites of the year. Any other things kind of stick out? Of course, the Kenny Omega winning the brand new United States Championship from the G1 and USA shows was a great story, and him building up that championship with a couple of fun wins over like a Juice Robinson and I forget what his other was it Bad Luck Fale was his other title defense.
Oh, speaking of, there's a moment of the year. Bad Luck Fale became the greatest heel of all time this year. When he tore up Daryl.
That poor cat.
And a really interesting thing, too, because that happened like in the middle of the G1 climax. So in my mind, it was a brilliant way to keep people thinking about not only Daryl Takahashi, but, of course, Hiromu Takahashi, a junior heavyweight, while this heavyweight tournament was going on. I thought that was a brilliant thing to do, just to kind of throw that in the middle of the G1 climax.
What did you guys think about the Omega and Yano match with the fucking duct tape?
I love comedy matches.
Oh my god! But we both love comedic wrestling. Like we love Colt Cabana and like everybody who does super funny spots. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay. I just like that match.
Okay, wait, but here's the thing. Like I've been watching Kenny like on and off for a while, and I've spent a lot of time watching some of his old work in DDT and back when he was doing really, really, really stupid gimmicks. So like one of my favorite matches with him is it's him and Kana tagging, and like literally half of the match is just him being ridiculous and showing his ass, and it's a great match. It's so freaking entertaining. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but
no, I only bring that match up because this is it is one match that sticks out in my mind because it's Kenny fucking Omega. Like he's just had so many great matches this year, and then he comes out and does this, and like the internet exploded with just hate. I'm like, you got a guy that's on top of his game right now. Like he's wanted so bad for every promotion, let's just say, and he's coming out doing this shit, and it's hilarious. He's telling you, have fun in there, like always just let loose, be you, and that shit sticks out to me where you can have a 5-star match and still have technically a 1-star match, but still have everyone focused in on it. Like that's brilliant to me.
And he took what would typically be a night off in New Japan. You're in this amidst this crazy tournament where you're competing to put on great matches every other day, and people look at the Yano match as a night off. Well, he didn't take a night off. They put a lot of thought into that, and it was the most memorable Yano match of the goddamn tournament. Yep. And so the fact that we're talking about it, 6 months later is a testament to both of those guys in putting together something memorable in what should have just been a throwaway night off for both guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Wrestle Kingdom 12. Obviously, we talked about Okada and Naito. Everybody's hyped for that. I think, actually, this is a good question to bring up. Are you guys more into the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho match, or are you more into the Okada and Naito match?
Equal for me, anyway. I am very into both. I think that the Naito Okada match is going to be an amazing match. It may actually steal the show. It may actually overshadow Kenny Omega for once.
Well, and we had the news this week that the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho match is going to be a no DQ.
These match, no disqualification, anything goes!
So it's interesting because you don't get a lot of that in New Japan, right? A no DQ match. And so part of me wants to think, well, New Japan does so many things right. If you're going to have a New Japan or a no disqualification match in a promotion that does everything right, why doesn't Kenny march to the ring with the entire Bullet Club and just beat the shit out of Chris Jericho and win in 2 minutes? Right. Logically, obviously they're not going to do that, and that would kind of be.
Well, they're not going to do that because Kenny's been booking straight up face for a while, and I think that's what's interesting. Like, both of these matches are going to be very different, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, I'm psyched for Jericho Omega only because I'm hoping it kind of brings out a side of like Kenny in the ring that we don't get to see very often, which is him kind of losing his shit, because we always see him very calculated, very collected, and Jericho's doing the best work of his goddamn career right now. Like anybody is nuts, but like Okada Naito, if y'all sleeping on that match, you're crazy. Wake the fuck up. It's gonna be it's gonna be insane and a technical wonder, and those two are masters of storytelling. I'm honestly almost more psyched for Okada Naito.
It's interesting. Go ahead.
No.
I cut you off. I was just going to say over the past month or so, obviously coming out of the G1 Climax and everything, Okada has debuted that new Cobra Clutch submission, and so now he's been countering the Destino into the Cobra Clutch, and then Naito's been slowly getting used to the Cobra Clutch and finding ways to get out of that, and now finally he has done that, and he hit Okada with the Destino at this final Road 2 show. So yeah, they've been going back and forth, teasing each other, being able to hit each other with new finishers, old finishers, all of that. And so yeah, that's going to be a ton of fun. Getting back to the Kenny Omega Jericho no DQ stip, not only does that make room for Okada Naito to stand out as this epic one-on-one matchup with the no DQ stip, just that can be such a completely different match now from what that match is, because obviously we know Omega is capable of putting on an amazing one-on-one match, and this, I have no doubts that it will be very good and amazing, but in a different way because of the no DQ.
They're both clever guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the no DQ, though, you brought up an interesting point when you said what stops Kenny Omega from bringing the Bullet Club down. Here is my prediction. He is going to do it, but Cody and the Guerrillas of Destiny are going to back Jericho.
Interesting.
And this is where we're going to get the Bullet Club split that they've been teasing now for 9 months.
Yeah, we're both kind of the opinion this is going to be the turn. This is where, because they've been building it with Tama too. It's. Yeah,
and that kind of plays into the Cody versus Kota Ibushi match also on this card. So let's
Two sweet versus one sweet.
let's shift into talking about that match. Shannon, you brought up DDT, so kind of talk about the history, Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and all of that plays into this match with Cody. I think it's really interesting and really cool storylines going on throughout this.
And they've done I think New Japan's done a really great job of kind of carrying the whole Kota Kenny storyline. So for those uninitiated, they were a tag team called the Golden Lovers. And let's just be completely honest, all of us that are into Bishonen, Pretty Boy, manga, and occasionally yaoi, that kind of thing, they very much fed into that fandom for the female Japanese fans. And they've kind of had this weird... I'm going to just call it sexual tension between the two of them. I'm kind of can you two just kiss on camera and get it over? Because I ship it. I'm fine.
But be shirtless first.
Yeah. They've literally done this back and forth where ever
since
them
a little bit.
Ever since the split and them both being in New Japan, they've had this rivalry where they hate each other and they're really, really picky. Hey, shut up. That's my line. Don't touch me. That's my gimmick. And they get really bitchy at one another, but then they have these moments backstage and the cameras will catch them where you can they don't say it verbally, but they're there for one another. And after the last, I think it was the last Okada Kenny match, they had this bit where they went backstage and Coda was waiting, and the Bucks were like playing wingman. It was adorable.
I think that was the match. Wasn't it the match that he lost to Naito, the G1 Climax final?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. You're right. It was. But they, he just had this moment where like he just put his head on Coda's chest, and it was like they hate each other, but they love each other, but they hate each other, but they love each other, and it's God, it's so good, and they've been telling this story for like ages now with no payoff, and I'm like, when's my payoff?
Yeah, a lot of us expected to see something from that this year, and again, it was just more teasing. Got to talk about the match going back to when it was, I think it was Kota Ibushi versus AJ Styles, where Kenny Omega kind of got involved on the outside a little bit, and they kind of shot a look at each other, Ibushi and Kenny Omega. So that plays into it too. This goes all the way back to when AJ Styles was.
You know how much I love the long con.
Yes. So yeah, long-term storytelling definitely at play. So what do you guys think happens in the match with Kota Ibushi and Cody Rhodes here? Does Cody be so dastardly that he raises the ire of Kenny Omega in this match? Is this where the Bullet Club turn definitely starts? Do you guys think?
I could see it. I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, I think it would be a good catalyst. I don't think anything like super major is going to happen in that, but I think they will use it as like a tension elevator, which would be good, which would be really, really good.
All right, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Switchblade, Jay White. Jay White just coming back after his excursion in Ring of Honor. Tanahashi out, he's off these last few shows here, kind of, he's got a bit of a knee boo-boo. And of course, he's been dealing with that biceps work that he's been all sorts working us all year on. But I think this should be a fun match between these two. What do you guys think?
I don't have a lot of opinions about Jay White. So this, I mean, I didn't really get into him in Ring of Honor, so I'm actually really interested to see him, as like this turbo heel. Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in this. It could be very good. I actually think Tanahashi may lose.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance we see the IWGP Intercontinental title go to Jay White here.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the only good outcome that could potentially happen. Tana's been pushing it way too long. I mean, I know that like people equate him to like the John Cena of Japan, and I love him to pieces. I love Tana, but like, I think it's time. I think it's time for him to drop the belt, and I think Jay White would actually be a good kind of next step. It's going to be a very classic like heel versus face. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how Jay White works as a heel, because I think he's really good as a baby face. Mm-hmm. I liked what he did in Ring of Honor. That match he had with Punishment Martinez back here in Hopkins, Minnesota, I thought was a standout match on that show. But yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see how it works out. And Tanahashi can have a fucking great match with anybody.
I feel like with like a name like Switchblade, though, you got to be like a really like Zack Sabre person, almost like very close and technical in your face, like mat wrestling almost. No flips and ropes kind of stuff. Like right. To me, I'm just like, I think of Switchblade, I think of just like a close personal kind of weapon. So I feel like if he's gonna work heel, that's the kind of route he needs to be, is just kind of in your face, working them, like body to body almost.
Well, interesting that the Switchblade name, I heard in an interview that he did, came from, they wanted him to do something like razor sharp strong style was going to be his nickname, and he was like, well, I don't know if I should use the name Razor, so let's do something different. So that's how the Switchblade thing came up, I guess. So but it's that same idea though, that that a hard hitting, ground based style, not a lot of flair to it.
Because so far him wearing that leather jacket is not working it for me at all. Like, he doesn't look like a Switchblade kind of guy.
right he just doesn't kind of come across as that tough guy persona. So I guess we'll see how it plays out in the ring. So
yeah, he looks like discount Sammy Callahan to me.
But really clean discount Sammy Callahan, like
Family Dollar Sammy Callahan.
Minoru Suzuki versus Hirooki Goto in a hair versus hair match for the never open weight title. I am not into this. Suzuki won the title from Goto. I'm with Suzuki all the way. His promos the entire way have been like, fuck you, Goto.
His hair's way better too.
Our story is over. I beat you. You're done. Get the fuck out of here. However, I am intrigued if Goto gets his head shaved. Does he just like go back to black trunks and being a young boy again?
I hope like Suzuki makes him like shave like his hairdo on him.
Have him join Suzuki Gun and have him be a Suzuki clone with the same crazy hairdo with the back mohawk or whatever. What's your guys' investment level on Hirooki Goto?
Okay, I like Goto a lot, actually. I do. He, for some reason, there was something about the Goto Kenny Omega match from last year, 2 years ago.
Trying to remember. I think it might have been the year before. I don't think those two touched this year.
No, not this year. I'm thinking 2016 or 2015's G1 Climax.
Okay.
It was an amazing match. I absolutely loved that match. So ever since I saw that match, I started paying more attention to Goto.
And you're not alone there, too. I think he's a guy that's, he's a polarizing guy. There's people that are like Joe. I know Joe likes him, our podcast co-host for Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. And yeah, there's people, I should say, that are into Goto. So he's kind of a polarizing figure.
Is there any meaning on his hair, though? Like, to me, like a hair versus hair match between Suzuki and like Tanahashi would make more sense. Like, that motherfucker, like, I was sad when he cut those luscious locks off. But Goto, like, what's so big about his hair?
Did you see Tanahashi's fucking Napoleon Dynamite perm?
Yeah.
So bad.
I thought he was trying to be Pam from Stranger Things.
That was great.
Or Barb.
No, Goto is very samurai-like. He has a very samurai persona, and the samurai's hair was very important.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. So that's why I was like, what's the big deal with Goto and his hair? So that makes sense now. Thank you.
Now, any haircut to Suzuki is just going to be an improvement. So
I feel like I really am hoping that like Suzuki gets in the ring and just goes like full on, like takes the murder grandpa thing to 11. Like
Murder grandpa.
I've never heard murder grandpa before. I love that.
Just like start throwing people left and right, like audience members, chairs, young boys, rep, camera guys. Like throw the announcer. It'd just be like, no, this is stupid. This is dumb. You're all terrible, and you should feel terrible about yourself.
I want to see him throwing like canasta cards and porridge around now.
That's great. A side note as well. All Suzuki Gun, no other wrestlers will be allowed at ringside here too. So we're not going to get the typical Suzuki Gun interference allegedly. So we've seen banned people come out before, but that's usually a WWE trope. But that's
I'm not ringside.
It's a different discussion for a different day. The Young Bucks versus Roppongi 3K for the IWGP Junior titles. Interesting story here. The Young Bucks haven't had the Junior titles for a while now. They want to add one more win of those Junior championships to their credit, and then move up to the heavyweight division. So bringing more interest up to that level. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to say here because they've really been pushing Roppongi 3K here. I could really see him going either way. I could see the Bucks chasing Roppongi 3K throughout the year. I could see the Bucks winning the titles here and Roppongi 3K chasing to win them back, and then that would be when the Bucks possibly move up here. But I like that the Bucks are in a straight up 2-on-2 match. What are you guys' thoughts before I spoil all the takes here?
I don't know what it is about Roppongi 3K. I just can't get into them yet. They just aren't doing it for me.
Well, I hear that too because it kind of feels like Rocky Romero kind of trying to put his party gimmick onto those two young boys when they're probably not party guys. They'll probably go back to the hotel and play a Nintendo Switch or something.
Like every other wrestler now.
Exactly. So putting the party gimmick on those two guys probably doesn't ring true to them. But what are your thoughts, Sharon?
I don't really know. I'm really torn on this one, only because like I'm with Rich. Roppongi I'm not super in on, but I love the Bucks. Like, love the Massey Boys. I don't know that I could see them taking this one, only because I know. I think it'll depend. Oh God, I'm so torn. This could kind of go either way, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win it. I really don't. I think the whole night with them is going to be just about backing up Kenny. And like when the line is drawn in the sand, I think they're going to side with him because that's the boy. Like it's the elite.
Right.
But it would be a really interesting thing, like just all of them just dejected and then just like coming out kind of on top at the end of the night. Like, well, screw all y'all. Like we're friends, we're family. Like this is kind of how we stand tall. I don't know. Like, and I could be way off base, but I think it would be an interesting story if they lost.
Yeah. It could go 100 different ways. So yeah. It's one of those you just tune in to watch and just see what happens with it. So, Marty Scurll defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in a 4-way versus Will Ospreay, Hiromu Takahashi, and Kushida. They basically threw the 4 best junior heavyweights into one match. Again, it's okay because it's the biggest show of the year. It's all about the main events. This will be a spectacle, a hell of a match, I think. Actually, it actually could stand out to be one of the really good matches on the show, considering that they just kind of threw all the guys into one match, depending on how much time they give it. But I like the story that there's 3 truths in life: death, taxes, and Marty Scurll beats Will Ospreay. So that comes into play with Scurll beating Ospreay in his first title defense, and then you've got the Takahashi Kushida story from throughout the year. Last year with Takahashi winning the junior title versus Kushida at Wrestle Kingdom last year. Kushida having the redemption story going through the best of the Super Juniors tournament and winning the title back after that. So a lot of good things going on here. I don't know who to pick. Scurll could keep any of these guys could win. So again, another one to kind of tune into just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scurll loses it. I still think that this is also going to be part of the whole Bullet Club shattering thing. I think Bullet Club is going to have a very bad Wrestle Kingdom.
Interesting, yes.
I could see actually could see Hiromu taking it with the possibility of Naito getting the heavyweight championship. Yeah. I mean, it could be a good night for LIJ.
And Evil and Sonata, too.
Right, yeah, we can kind of shift into... Did you have any different thoughts on that match, Shannon, before you kind of skip into that tag match?
Not really. I'm just really looking forward to this match. It's 4 guys I absolutely freaking adore. So like, there's no real loser for me in this situation. I'm like, shut up and take my money. I'm fine.
It's interesting too. I kind of want to see it go back to Ospreay just because that's the most recent story, and there's that redemption story with when will Ospreay finally beat Marty Scurll, and certainly you could have him win it by pinning somebody else possibly because it's a 4. I don't think it's elimination style, but it might be. I don't know. But so there's possibilities there. Good stories throughout anyway. But getting back right, like what you were saying, being a possibly a very big night for Los Ingobernables, with the tag match, Killer Elite Squad defending the tag titles versus the World Tag League winners, Evil and Sonata. I thought Evil had a really great year, and a chance here, like you said, to add more gold to the Los Ingobernables stable.
Okay, I love Suzuki-gun. I cannot stand KES though. I hate the Killer Elite Squad. I don't know what it is about them. I just hate them. I hate them.
When Lance Archer comes out and just starts spitting water on everybody, like, oh, fuck this guy. And then their promos are lame. They're just like, it's the Killer Tag League. I'm just like, fuck off. Who cares?
And Evil has grown on me. I was not a big Evil fan. I'm sorry, I can't stand his Spirit Halloween sights, and I'm not a huge fan of the crushed velvet singlet, but he is a damn good wrestler. And also, Sonata needs to go back to his old skull mask. I hate this new horned one. It is horrible.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's never stood out to me, but now that you mention it, yeah, I preferred the old ones there. But yeah, Evil had a great year, stood out in the G1. When everybody was looking for Sonata to stand out, it was Evil that had the standout G1. So yeah, I like this team. I like the idea of them winning the titles and then continuing to having Sonata and Evil as a team kind of helping develop a guy like Sonata and just get better. Like there's just a missed connection there between Sonata and the crowd, I feel like.
And I love Sonata. He is so good.
Yeah.
I may not be a fan of the tie up the limbs in a knot spot, but it's fine.
Yeah, the Paradise Lock. Yeah. Me gusta.
Yeah.
Let's see what else from the show. The Never 6-Man Championship match with our War Machine and teaming with that guy and Bad Luck Fale and Gorillas of Destiny just winning the 6-Man championships. This is a gauntlet match this is one of the matches just to get everybody else on the show. So it's Ishii, Yano, and Beretta teaming Makabe Juice and Ryusuke Taguchi. It'll be interesting to see if it's Taguchi or the Masked Horse in this match. Yes, Taguchi has been doing a masked horse gimmick now. I think it's because they have a new horse track sponsor or something. I'm not sure. But and then Zack Sabre Jr. teaming with Izuka and Tai Chi to fill out the other team in that gauntlet match. Again, should be fun. I expect the Bullet Club guys, Folly and Gorillas of Destiny to retain here. Although again, wouldn't be surprised. Oh, we don't have. I was going to say, would be surprised to see you go back to LIJ, but we don't have an LIJ team here. So never mind.
No, I think if the Bullet Club get one win, it'll be this one.
Yeah, keeping those titles there, but certainly those never open titles until LIJ won them earlier this year. They had the longest run with them ever. Before that, they were it was rare for anybody to retain them. It was they would change every time they were defended until LIJ won them. Basically,
I could see Suzuki-gun winning it. I really don't want to see gold around Taichi's waist, but
Taichi has been kind of one of my he's been one of my guilty pleasures of New Japan. He kind of falls into that Yano range for me, just because he's such a cock when he comes out singing his stupid song, lip syncing his stupid song, and he's got that goddamn microphone, and the promos in the back with him and Yoshinobu Kanemaru just being dicks, and just I kind of get into that that side of the Suzuki Gun stuff.
He is literally a Final Fantasy villain.
There you go. Yes. All right. Any final predictions? We didn't really do a prediction for the main event. I almost don't want to go there, but I mean, a lot of everybody thinks Naito is going to win here, but is there a chance that Okada retains here?
There is. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say there is a chance Okada retains.
It's Gato's boy. I mean, come on.
I mean, they just think of the ire that would create in Naito and the fans, and just building to whatever that next match would be between those two, and Okada continuing this insane reign that he's been on, this title reign of over a year now. So
I could almost so Naito has pretty much been face for the last 6 months, 7 months.
Pretty much, yeah.
I could almost see Okada starting to go more heel during this match.
Oh, absolutely. And he showed signs of doing that kind of thing. And again, New Japan is great at shades of gray and working with whatever the matchup is. So it's not that somebody is a heel all the time or is a babyface all the time. It depends on who you're having a match with, which I love. I love that WWE hits you over the head. They bang you over the head. I'm a bad guy. I'm going to insult your town, and I'm going to call you idiots, and I'm going to, you guys are all stupid fans. Whereas New Japan, they treat it more like a sport, and they just put these guys out there. They are who they are, and the fans decide who they like. And based on that fan reaction, the wrestlers act accordingly. And so I just love that aspect of it. So I totally see the crowd just absolutely being behind Naito here, and fucking Okada just being a little bit bit of a dick and just getting that crowd ire. And so I'm looking forward to just seeing this play out, and I think it'll be really good.
Oh, I agree. I think it's a 50-50 shot on this one. Yeah, I still haven't made my pick on that one yet. So
yeah, it'll be, again, it's just going to be a great, fun thing to see play out all of these matches because there's so much intrigue. And, they all could go so many different ways. So a lot of fun. Any other final thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom before we wrap this thing up?
I'm too old, but I'm still going to stay up to watch it live.
Oofta.
We took the next day off of work because we're nerds. So we're just really excited for it. I don't know. I'm hoping we can rope some people into watching it that have never watched anything New Japan before, because New Japan's just lit right now. It's so good.
Yeah, that would be that. You got to have the New Japan party, but again, good luck trying to get people to come over in the middle of the night on a Thursday.
We have a few that are coming.
Nice, so. nice. Yeah, I thought about maybe doing a Thursday night party, but I think what a lot of people are planning on doing is a Saturday night thing with the Access TV thing, because it's going to be airing. They're going to be airing a 3-hour version of Wrestle Kingdom on Saturday night. But yeah, I'm going to be going radio silence, no social media on Thursday until I get home and watch it after work that day. So if you're looking for, not that I'm fucking doing much on social media anyway, but I'm going to just have it completely shut off and hopefully go into the thing spoiler-free come Wrestle Kingdom. So that's my plan. All right, go ahead and you guys plug your podcast and where people can follow you guys on the internet and all that jazz.
I'll just talk because I know he's waiting for me. So we are on Twitter at Married Marks. We are also on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and pretty much just about every site and aggregator you can possibly think of at this point. Our website is www.marriedmarks.com. You can email us at marriedmarkspod@gmail.com. I am on Twitter at SmarkyBetch with an E, not an I, and Richard is at ONY_Draz with 2 Z's. Did I leave anything out, babe?
Nope, that's everything.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for joining me on this show. I really appreciate it. It was so much fun to talk New Japan and Ring of Honor with a couple other people that are really into it. So I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do this again sometime in the future.
Yeah,
well,
thanks for having us.
Strong Honor.
Again, I want to thank Shannon and Richard from the Married Marks podcast for doing the show today. Lots of fun talking with those guys. Check out their great podcast wherever you find your podcast. You'll find links to their podcast and all the social media in the description for the show and at bestprowrestlingpodcast.com as well as stronghonor.com. Now, as promised, got to talk about these Young Lions. I can't believe I forgot to talk Young Lions with the Married Marks. I've talked about my predictions for the Young Lions Cup. Now, if you haven't been following along, the Young Lions started their own round-robin tournament, just the one block, so 6 Young Lions in this thing, all wrestling each other to find out who the best is in this Young Lions Cup. So every Lionsgate project show going back to early November is when this thing started, I believe, or maybe it was late October. But anyway, you go back the last few Lionsgate project shows on njpwworld.com and you can check out the matches there. Now, a lot of people may not realize that when you watch these Road to Tokyo Dome shows on Sunday and Monday, or was it Monday and Tuesday, the 17th and the 18th, coming from Korakuen Hall, the first 3 matches on each show were Young Lion Cup matches. These aren't just straight up Young Lion singles matches for no reason. These matches actually have a reason. They're part of the Young Lion tournament going on right now. So now this is, again, another round-robin style tournament where everybody wrestles everybody in the tournament, and then you get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. They are 15-minute time limits, so if anybody goes to a 15-minute time limit draw, you would each get 1 point for that, 0 points, of course, for a loss. Now, at the time of this recording, it is Wednesday the 20th. So by the time this thing drops on Thursday, it'll be the 21st, and you'll be able to watch the culmination of the Young Lion Cup tournament on njpwworld.com. The 21st is the final show, Lionsgate Project 10, probably coming to you from Shinjuku Face. That's usually where these Lionsgate shows are. It's a really cool, intimate venue. Feels kind of like a nightclub vibe, so really fun. So it's not only the young lions from New Japan, but they bring in some young guys from some other promotions. Plus, you get some of the third generation guys taking on some younger talent, usually on those shows. So, you know, your Jushin Thunder Ligers, Kojimas, people of that nature. So here's what we're looking at going into the final day of this Young Lions Cup. Basically, this thing's been very predictable so far, where the more experienced young lions have defeated the less experienced young lions. Kawato did beat Tomoyuki Oka. Hirai Kawato beat Tomoyuki Oka, even though Kawato, the smaller man, it kind of felt like an upset with Kawato winning with the roll-up. And then the biggest match of the tournament thus far was Katsuya Kitamura versus Hirai Kawato. With Kawato being the more experienced one here, it was almost expected that he would win, but Katsuya Kitamura being the big jacked-up young lion. Again, the David versus Goliath story here. It was fun to root for Kawato in the match, but it was, in fact, Kitamura who got the win with the jackhammer. A fun, quick match. Kawato gets a dramatic armbar into a triangle in the match, and then Kitamura powers out of it, and then Kawato gets a near fall with a roll-up. Again, he beat Oka with a roll-up in kind of dramatic upset fashion, so it made for the roll-ups in this match to be dramatic, because Kawato had won a prior match with a schoolboy roll-up. He attempted that twice with Kitamura. The second one, he put Kawato up and won with the jackhammer. So right now in the standings, Kawato has 9 points. Oka has 9 points. Kitamura has 9 points. Shota Umino with just 6 points, 2 wins, and then the other two, Tetsuhiro Yagi and Ren Narita, both with no wins thus far in the tournament. So what the drama comes down to are the final matches between those top three guys. Kitamura still has to face Oka. Now with Kawato, he still has to face Red Shoes Umino, not Red Shoes, but Shota Umino, Red Shoes' son, Umino. Kawato has to face him, so Kawato will win versus Umino probably, so he will get to 12 points. Tomoyuki Oka has to still face Kitamura. I believe Oka is the more experienced one, but if Kawato wins over Umino, which he should, if Oka beats Kitamura, Kawato wins, because he would have 12 points and the tiebreaker over Tomoyuki Oka. If Kitamura beats Tomoyuki Oka, he wins outright, because he's at 12 points right now. If Katsuya Kitamura, the big jacked up young lion, beats Tomoyuki Oka, he wins automatically. He will be undefeated in the tournament with 14 points. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Also, whose O has got to go? Tetsuhiro Yagi versus Ren Narita, both guys with 0 wins. I believe Yagi is the more experienced one, so probably him getting the win there. Now I can happily say that we've wrapped up this New Japan conversation this week and talked about pretty much everything. Hell, we even got the horse in there, the masked horse of Taguchi. We talked about that a little bit in the main conversation. So let's wrap up the show with the Kojima tweet.
Now it's time for the Satoshi Kojima Tweet of the Week.
Follow Kojima on Twitter at cozy_lariat, or just listen to this show every week for the best of Kojima's tweets. This week, Kojima with a little advice on staying in good shape. I will get fat if I eat potato chips. I will gain weight if I eat bread. I choose bread because I am a bread club. Yes. So follow me on Twitter at Tommy Stryker, spell Stryker with a Y. Join the conversation at Strong Honor on Twitter, Facebook.com/Strong Honor Podcast. Links in the description for myself, Taco, Shannon and Richard from the Married Marks, All those links found in the description of the show and at stronghonor.com. Thanks again so much for listening. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe if you like the show, and tune in every week to this podcast and my other podcast. You should check out Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, where me and a couple of buddies talk WWE, we talk Raw, we talk SmackDown, Clash of Champions this last week. We get into that. We always talk NXT. And oftentimes we talk some other indie stuff, and of course, we will mix in Ring of Honor and New Japan there as well, because after all, they are part of the best wrestling in the world. Thanks again for checking out the show. I'm Tommy Stryker. Bye!
Now my gal, let me tell you something, boy. You big juiced up jelly bean looking mother.
Professional wrestling is a fight.